you've always had a heart for the younger generation, and you do a lot that people don't see. You have conversations that people are unaware of. And I'm asking because I love seeing the older generation connect with the younger generation. I hate, and I'm gonna use that word, I hate when I see the disconnect between generations. The older generation, they hate and they don't understand. It's like, bro, I done been where you going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like when the older generation are so disconnected from the younger generation that they just don't even try. But it is tricky because it's two different eras, two different mindsets. You and Claressa Shields, and I talked to her yesterday and kind of got an idea of what her perspective of the situation happened. But man, y'all seem to have started off good and then something went awry. What happened with you and Claressa?
You know, I think that, like you said, I'm somebody that is open to being connected in terms of giving people advice when they come to me for it. Claressa was one of those people who reached out to me when I think it was after she won the Olympics the first time. I commentated the Olympics. I was aware of who she was.
Okay.
She reached out to me somehow and asked me advice about should she go to the Olympics again, should she go pro? And I remember telling her, like, there ain't nothing in 168. You know what I'm saying? Like, she told me she was doing good in school. I asked her about herself. She was really smart. You know, I said, I would do the Olympics again, and then I would go to school and do something else. Like, I'm thinking she's gonna use the Olympics and catapult into something else. You know what I'm saying? But, because I was like, at 168, there's nothing.
In the pros.
In the pros, I said, you ain't gonna make no real money there. I said, but if you do go pro, go down. I had a lengthy conversation about that because you go down to like 58, 47, because I'm looking at her. And I told her, I said, you can do it. If you diet down, if you get a nutritionist, I'm looking at your body. I said, because when I was 168, I was a lean 168. I couldn't get any smaller. I'm 200 pounds right now, Andre. So I'm saying I'm a big girl. People don't realize, like, physically, I got big hands, I got big feet, I'm big. So I was telling her, you're not big like me, so you can come down. So that was my advice to her. And then we stayed in touch. You know, she would hit me before her fights. And I just remember going and promoting a cookbook and my cookbook and going on the Breakfast Club. And you asked me what happened.
I remember that.
And they asked me about Claressa, like they asked me about women's boxing. I said nice things about her, like I always did. And then they ended up asking me, would I ever come back? And I said, there's no reason to. I said, I don't see anybody there that inspires me to want to come back. I was like, there's so much I would have to stop doing, you know, that I would have to do. So I guess, well, I know that she heard that and took offense to it. And then next thing I know, she's on YouTube saying, Laila Ali was on, you know, she said it out of her own mouth. Like, she heard me say there was nobody that she was inspired by that she felt could give her competition. I feel some kind of way. So then she started calling me out. And I was like, wow. So first thing I thought, because I'm the type of person, I would just pick up the phone. Like, you would think she'd pick up the phone, but I know this newer generation, like you said, is different. But now you took it public, and she was always the one calling me anyway. So I wasn't about to call her and say, hey, what's going on? I was just like, okay, that's where she decided to go with it. So then, of course, now, you know, the public is, they're gonna exasperate it.
They're gonna spin it.
And then the next time I do another interview, at that point, she had already, you know, talked about me, and she started putting stuff on her social media page. She ain't never fought nobody. She ain't never, you know, she basically was trying to degrade my legacy and everything that I had done. And I was like, oh, okay, wow, that you crossing a line now. You can think you can beat me.
I see the look in your eyes. I see you going there.
I'm just saying, you can think that.
Right.
That's fine. You're supposed to think that.
Yeah, of course.
But to start going in on my legacy and what I have and haven't done and all these things, I was like, wow, that's a lot, you know? So that's kind of what happened. I think that fans don't like it, because fans are like, man, we love both of y'all. You know, why does it have to be this way? So again, that's pretty much how it happened. And that for me is like, there's just certain things that are not okay with me. It's hard to come back from. And again, I don't have any hard feelings against Claressa in general, because I got a lot going on over here, you already know, to be worried about any of these young girls like that. But at the same time, I see that she gets into it with a lot of people. She gets into it with a lot of female fighters. She gets into it with male fighters. So obviously that's a thing for her. Hopefully she'll figure that out, because you're not going to get very far in this life if you continue burning bridges. And even though she's not someone that I consider a friend, hopefully that's some advice that she would take, because you're going to see a lot of people surpass you. Even though you're talented, even though you can say, oh, I won all these belts and I went to the Olympics, I did X, Y, and Z. So never think too big of yourself, right? Because there's always going to be somebody. You got to really watch your character. You got to stay humble. And, you know, hopefully you don't burn so many bridges along the way, you don't come back from it, because you want to use these opportunities right now when you have it. It's great that you're doing all these things, and you want to be a role model to those coming behind you.
Of course.
And you want the fans to like you. You want to be a likable person. You know, I know there's a movie coming out on her, which is great. She's been through so much, you know, but guess what? A lot of us have. So it's no excuse. We need to do better. And to me, it's really important. It's really important how I carry myself. It's really important how I represent myself, how I represent women, how I represent Black women, how I represent fighters, how I represent my father, how I represent myself, how I'm a woman, a mother, a wife. I don't have time to be over here going back and forth with somebody over no BS. So, you know, like I was hesitant to even talk to you about it, because we already know people grab onto that. You know what I'm saying? This isn't about who can win, who can fight. You know, Claressa knows I offered her sparring. She knows. She knows she didn't want to spar with me. That would have been the moment to whoop me. That would have been the moment, because we know we would have had our social media.
Yeah.
That would have been your moment to do your thing. So we don't want to hear nothing else about it now. No more. You know, because there's so many more opportunities out there, you know, but you just got to go about them the right way.
Is there a way back for y'all?
I can't be a negative person and ever say that there's not a way back. You never want to have an enemy, especially someone in the sport, especially two people can have an impact. There's so many people who can relate to Claressa, her story, where she came from, that can never relate to me. So whoever it is that you can relate to, that can inspire you, that's wonderful, that's great. But like I said, it's really hard to come back from someone trying to diminish your legacy. And, you know, it's not gonna just happen by just, you know, squashing it. Like if you felt some kind of way that hurt your feelings or hurt you deeply, and you wanna, you know, come back to me and talk it through, then I'm gonna have to know where you were coming from. It definitely ain't gonna just be like, we just gonna forget about it. I'm not saying someone has to be like, sorry, Laila, but come on, you know, this all started because of an interview. You heard me say something and you assume I'm jealous of you. It's like, you know, you gotta take the blinders off.
Well, I'm hoping that one day y'all can have a meeting of the minds and have a conversation, because y'all have different upbringings and lifestyles, but y'all got some overlap too. Y'all both have had troublesome times. Y'all had to fight through some things, different roles, but trouble, and it needed to be a lot of perseverance along the way.
And so have you.
Yes.
So that means nothing to me, Andre. What
But
you
I
just
mean,
said. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying as an excuse.
I can
I'm
relate
saying
to so many different people
that's true.
on that level. So that's
Yeah.
not. But I got where you were trying
But
to.
I'm
Are you trying to be
saying-
Dr. Phil here? No.
Dr. Dre. But no, this is how my mind
I'll let you
works.
have your moment. I'm sorry.
Let me have my moment.
Yes.
So I'm going to hold out hope, because I do see the overlap. And I do see two young ladies that came from different but difficult backgrounds. And y'all have made tremendous names for yourselves. And so I'm going to hold out hope that one day.
Keep that hope alive, brother.
Yes, I will. And I'm going to ask, I don't need the details, but was a potential fight with y'all, was that real?
I think that when I said that I'd be willing to fight for the right amount of money, I definitely got some phone calls.
Okay.
And if that money would have came about back then, not now.